Your appeal is 1 week from today, is that right?
That's right, December 4th on Monday.
All right, so tell me about it.
Well, it's part of the process, the appeal process, but the appeal that we filed pertains directly to the restricted zone area in that charge, Anthony. And what was proven in my trial and is proven over and over is that area wasn't visibly marked according to U.S. code. So if we can get the appeal court to acknowledge the fact that there was no way that we could know that area was restricted, then, that in itself could begin to change the face of January 6th, Anthony, because that would establish precedence that we had the legal right to have been on that ground, and any action that was taken against us would have been illegal action by the government, So it could be a game changer, and I'm praying for one.
What is your, I'm assuming you have counsel for this, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's a D.C. Court of Appeals. Lisa Wright, she prepared, I don't know how many pages the brief is, but, I think that there's some very clear points made. And, I was charged with knowingly entering into a restricted zone, and the government failed to prove that point on every front. They didn't produce any evidence that would point to the fact that or to any, charge that I knew that was a restricted area. So, it's a good appeal, and I'm praying for another good win.
What's the word from your counsel? Are they feeling as froggy as you are?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Anytime you enter into a fight, you enter in with the expectations to win, So I feel that, of course that comes into play, but at the same time, when you just look at the base, just the legal base of this, the face of it, they didn't have the area marked, that was proven in my criminal trial for anybody that followed along, and it's in the recorded minutes. We had a 22-year veteran of the Secret Service on the stand and showed her pictures and photos of the front of the Capitol on that day, and she couldn't identify where the zone started. That's a problem. You get a bunch of out-of-towners in town. How in the heck were we supposed to know that there was an invisible line around the Capitol that was a restricted area, Yeah.
So when are you going to be heading out to D.C.?
I'm planning on driving out. I'm going to leave on Friday. And so I'm going to drive out. I don't feel like getting the TSA pat down. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of flying, only for the fact that I'm sick of being felt up every time I go get on a plane, So I'm just going to drive. And I'll be in person, I'll be once again back inside of a D.C. courtroom, but, it's interesting. And I don't even know if I've talked to you since this action started happening on the other side of this legal removal deal, where I filed a petition with the United States Supreme Court, Anthony, on whenever they removed and barred me from ever holding office again. And so we didn't hear anything back from the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, for a while, so we filed a motion to demand a response by December the 14th. Well, as soon as we filed that motion to demand a response from the United States Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court filed a motion to the New Mexico Supreme Court demanding them to render an opinion on that legal action, because whenever I was removed by Matthews in the first district in state court, I didn't agree with what he did, so I appealed it to the New Mexico Supreme Court, and they skirted the issue, and they wouldn't give me a response, which then in turn opened up that avenue to go to the United States Supreme Court. So now I feel like it's all coming back home to New Mexico where it should be. The New Mexico Supreme Court should give a response instead of hiding, underneath their robes.
Well, that was actually where I was going to ask you next, is where that was, but you answered ahead of time, so I like that.
Perfect.
Well, anything else you want to share with the people that are hearing you?
I guess, as we deal in our country today with the weaponized judiciary, we also have to recognize that January 6th has been weaponized against a bunch of good, just freedom-loving, good salt of the earth Americans. And I feel like now with the footage being released of the Capitol on that day, finally, I believe that the videos will show the truth, and the truth will change the narrative, and the narrative will prove the fact that the real insurrection occurred on November 3rd through a stolen and rigged election. So that's what we're shooting for, Anthony. That's what we're believing in, and Lord only knows how it's going to all play out.
That brings me to another side question. Sorry, but you brought one up to my mind. Do you feel this latest local election, do you feel it was 100% real? Or was there some foul play there?
You know what, Anthony? As long as there's electronic tabulators that are going unchecked, counting our votes, I won't trust any election from this point forward. You know, I mean, when I said as a county commissioner, all my demand was to Dominion in the state of New Mexico was that we could get those machines inspected to make sure they didn't have technology that would send nor receive information. And our requests were completely shut down. We were forced to use those machines, look at them, or use them, don't look at them, under that precept. And as long as we're dealing with people that are in control of our elections that aren't being transparent, I'll question every one of them from here forward.